I'm probably about to piss off some people in this video, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Bobby W223. Just in case you guys haven't seen my Microsoft is slipping video, or the video talking about where I was talking about the Wii U and the 8 gig, you know, flash memory and not having a built-in hard drive, I just decided I'm gonna just kind of glob all those topics into this video, as well as talking about the PS3 and the new Dub Edition Slim model and kind of my thoughts on that. So I'm gonna just kind of glob all this together. But starting with the PS3, as you guys know by now, or should know by now, that it's supposed to be a new, even slimmer model of the PS3 coming out. And one of the models is supposed to be, you know, 16 gigs. And, you know, I'm just like, really, 16 gigs? To me, this sounds like some shit that, you know, Microsoft would do with like the arcade system, or how I was talking about the Wii U and how it was supposed to only have, you know, 8 gigs in it, you know, out of the box. I talked about, you know, Nintendo and the Wii U and what I thought about the 8 gig thing. It's time to talk about this new, you know, even more slim PS3, and apparently it's gonna have 16 gigs in it. 16 gigs. What the fuck are you gonna do with 16 gigs? Just like I said, like once again with the Wii U and it having, you know, half of that, 16 gigs still ain't really that much. I'm sorry, especially if it's gonna come with like Plus or something like that, and you're downloading a bunch of games that you haven't played yet because you just got the system, you know. And between that and then, you know, DLC and having to, you know, install stuff, because you know how the PS3 is, you know, folks that, you know, have PS3s are just by now. So between installing and if you get Plus and they're playing games that you haven't played before, because once again there are gonna be a lot of people to probably buy this new, even more slim PS3 for the first time. 16 gigs, music, you know, download movies, TV shows, you know, video game, like, you know, clips and shit like that. Like I said, Plus, like 16 gigs, that's gonna go by pretty quick. That's dumb as hell. This is some shit that like Microsoft does. So I don't know why they're trying to do this with a PS3. Like, for real, Sony? For real, Sony. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. And I'll just keep it going on these fools. And if you just taking it back, let's go back. 2006, like I was talking about with Microsoft and, you know, the beginning of this generation, how they were pretty much running the show between the PS3 and the 360, and how I feel now that they've been kind of slipping as of late, and their first party just isn't very impressive overall, besides, you know, Halo 4, which is looking awesome and things like that. You know, to me, Sony and the PS3 was damn near the exact opposite. Now, I don't feel that Microsoft is as bad as Sony was in the beginning, like how Microsoft is now, but Microsoft is still pretty bad. But with Sony in the beginning, they really did not have, you know, jack shit to really get people to want to go out and buy the system. You know, people say that, oh, well, you know, if the PS3 had came out the same price as the 360, it would be totally different, which, yes, it would be different, but I still think that the 360 would have been more successful at that time than the PS3, just for the fact that the Xbox 360 actually had games to play. You know, there was stuff to play on the 360. You know, they had a lot more. The 360 had a lot more third-party support. You know, a lot of those. You know, I shouldn't say a lot, but you know, yeah, Gears and the one racing game, Forza, Gears, things like that. Those were brand new IPs at the time. You know, on the PS3, Resistance is really like the only, you know, game that was worth getting. There was like that one basketball game. There was that one like hack and slash game started with a G. Genji. Yeah, exactly. So Resistance was pretty much like that game for like pretty much that first whole year for the PS3, and that was it. On top of that, it was $599. So check this out. Not only did you have a console that was $600, which is like rent for you know, people depending on where you live and all that. $599 for a console that has Resistance Fallen Man, a first-person shooter, when the PS3 or the PlayStation brand, you know, had at that time had never really been known as a shooter console. It was always that adventure slash platformer. You know, it was pretty much like, you know, like Nintendo, not copying Nintendo, but it was kind of like that, in that same, you know, caliber. Plus, you know, you had people that play, you know, Madden, and, you know, Grand Theft Auto was obviously, you know, a huge game, and, you know, racing games like Gran Turismo and stuff like that. But overall, I would say that the PS2 and especially the PS1 was kind of like that JRPG slash platformer console. And all of a sudden, then you launch with a first-person shooter, and that's like the only game worth getting. You know, up until I say about Metal Gear Solid 4, there wasn't that much of a reason to really get a PS. Even when I got my PS3 in 2007, and I regretted it. I'm like, fuck, like was really no games. You know, I got, you know, like a few months after, excuse me, I keep some in my eye, but a few months after I got my PS3, you know, like Heavenly Sword came out, and I'm outside, I'm sorry, I don't know what the fuck that person's doing out there, but anyway, you know, Heavenly Sword, Uncharted, the first Ratchet and Clank for the PS3, you know, stuff like that was coming out, and then of course, you know, you had your third-party games. But then, you know, in 08, when like GTA 4, you know, multi-platform game, but, you know, GTA 4 and then like Metal Gear Solid 4 started coming out, you know, Resistance 2, the sequel, obviously, it came out first. The first Little Big Planet game came out all in 08, and then the beginning of 09, you had like Killzone 2, then you had Infamous, the first Infamous game in the middle of the year, then you had Uncharted 2, which was another huge, you know, game for the PS3, and then God of War 3. It kept going, and it didn't stop from that point on. In my opinion, it's just boom, 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 boom. Like I said, and you throw in all the third party, you know, Bayonetta, you know, whatever, you know, throwing, you know, BioShock finally came over the PS3, fucking Borderlands, all the Assassin's Creed games obviously were day and date, you know, all that type of stuff, you know, Call of Duty, all that crap. But yeah, the PS3 in the beginning didn't have shit to show. Sony was just being cocky and was just trying to ride off of the success of the PS2. But what they didn't understand is a lot of people that got the PS2 and then, you know, were looking at next-gen consoles was looking at either the 360 or the Wii, and that guy's chopping up some shit again, making noise. Awesome. This is what I get for recording outside, because it's a nice day to deal with this. Awesome. So, you know, a lot of people were looking at either the Wii or the 360, not the PS3. They were just trying to ride out the fact that it's PlayStation, so people are going to buy it regardless. Let's go ahead and charge $5.99 because of the Blu-ray and the cell processor and all that shit, because they were spending more than $600 for, you know, the PS3. So it's not like they were spending $200 and they were just charging, you know, they were spending more, but the thing is, they didn't have to put all that shit into, you know, the PS3. They just thought, okay, we can get away with it. We can try and have the best graphics, which they never had before, and yet their two most successful consoles did not have the best graphics, and all of a sudden now they think that their fan base wants their console to have the best graphics that generation. So there's that where they fucked up. They had no games at launch, and the thing was too expensive. Now, what does that sound like? What current gen gaming machine or current system does that sound like? A certain handheld Vita? Yes, the Vita. Same crap is going on right now with the Vita. People are saying it's too. I don't have a Vita. I'm not that big on handhelds, but people are saying it's too expensive. There's not enough games that are like actually Vita games. And, you know, there's not enough games, it's too expensive, things of that nature. The same crap that was going on with the PS3. These fools still have not learned their lesson, and that is not good for the PS4 in my opinion. They need to get off that cocky, we're PlayStation, we're Sony. No. Just stop. Stop, Sony, stop that shit. You're gonna ruin your name. You can't live off the PS2 forever, okay? That shit came out over 10 years ago now. You just can't, you know. And They're doing stupid shit like a 16 gig system, as if the PS3 is too expensive now. Now the PS3 is affordable, so I don't understand. You tell me you can't even put like a 120 gig, like an 80 gig hard drive in there. 16 with the Vita. No game. The PSP had the same problem, where a lot of the games were franchises from the PS2 and, you know, PS3 ports, things like that. The Vita is kind of getting more PS3 ports because it's more powerful or whatever, but same principle. It's just getting a lot of ports of current gen games. It's not really getting a lot of its own games. It's just ports. And the thing is, people don't want to spend $250 just to get ports. You know, not there's anything wrong with having some ports and things like that, but when you don't have a lot of your own games, it's just ports and more, you know, just over and over again. It's kind of like, if I already have a PS3 or 360 or whatever, why would I just get this handheld port that I gotta spend an extra $40 on top of, you know, getting the handheld? No. And okay, that's pretty much, you know, Sony. You know, I could keep going on with them, you know, copying this whole generation when it comes to their controllers, not all their games, you know, which some of the people don't understand, or they're just having a field day with the whole Move controller and the All-Stars game, and that acting like every single thing this whole generation that Sony did was copying. You know, even though out of the three, they copied the shit. Oh, well, they copied the most out of the three. They copied the achievements from Microsoft with trophies. You know, the having like their friends list, you know, in game, be able to message people in game. They did that after Microsoft did it with you know, their consoles and stuff. You know, they copied the shit out of Nintendo with the motion controller. You know, actually having a controller in your hand, not the camera motion stuff. But let's see, you know, All Stars, you know, their kart racing games, all that shit. You know, Microsoft hasn't done that as much. Nintendo definitely hasn't done that this generation. It's pretty much been Sony doing that, and they're in last place, so it's just I guess more funny for people because they're in last place and they're copying the most, so it makes people, you know, feel like, okay, obviously their games must not be good enough if, one, they're selling the least and they're trying to figure out how to kind of get back to where they are. So instead of just being themselves, they're trying to be somebody else, as if once again they're saying that their shit's not good enough. Oh, the DualShock, it's not good enough no more. Okay, here's our version of the Wiimote. Oh, some of our games aren't good enough anymore. Okay, here's our version of Smash Brothers. Good job, Sony. Alright.